What is up, everybody? Jeff from 0 Point Reviews. I am joined this time by my co-host Kevin as we're going back to 1997 to a comic book movie based on a kind of an independent comic book. Todd McFarland's Spawn. What do you think, Kevin? Gotta ask you.
Spawn. I was a huge fan of Spawn when it first came out. Like, I didn't know what it was. I just thought the cover looked cool because he looked like Spider-Man, and that's pretty much why everybody bought it.
It is a hell of a look.
And it was a really cool book. And when they said that a movie was coming out, they had little tidbits of information coming out in Wizard for months to 2 years before, and then pictures would trickle out here and there before, and then the movie finally came out, and oh god, was I so excited for that night.
Yeah, I remember seeing the flyers and Starlog, Cinescape, I want to say it was, and maybe a couple other sci-fi magazines back at the time, and seeing the flyers, and I'm like, that looks pretty interesting. I knew it was a comic book. I think I read one or two of them from my friend Oscar, but I think that's about as far as my knowledge went. And then we get to 1997 when this one comes out, and I saw this opening day, Saturday, University City.
Neat.
And it's a movie.
I took a girl that I thought was just as cute as a bug in a rug. She was absolutely adorable. She was a model.
This was not a first date, was it?
She was as cute as a bug in a rug.
Dude. Ouch.
My parents were leaving to come up here. We lived in California at the time, and they were going to come visit up here in Oregon. And so I had the house to myself at 17, had a brand new pickup truck that my dad decided, no, you're too young to have a truck this nice by yourself while we're away. And they leave me with the fucking minivan,
of course.
Dodge minivan. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? These seats fold. That's okay.
When this van is rocking, don't come a knocking.
Damn Skippy. Because I was so pumped. I had energy for this night. I loved the Spawn comics. I loved the Spawn cartoon. I loved the toys. I loved that shit. I couldn't wait to see this movie. I couldn't wait to take this girl out. I couldn't wait to get this girl home. And then we saw this movie.
And then that was the end of everything, wasn't it? This was the red pill, so to speak.
I was ready to spawn that night, but this movie decided to spawn harder.
Well, that's going to lead us to our movie review. We are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Spawn 1997. All right, Kevin. Let's see. Did you have the banner in here?
I do. We've got us going with the good.
Ooh, we're starting with the good this time, people. We might mix it up in the future, so stick around for when we start moving segments around.
I was being generous because I like that picture. That's like the picture for this movie. Can I just show that again? Look at that. It's Spawn with a cape. That's what we all wanted to see as kids, was Spawn with spikes and chains and skulls and his cape and just
And the cape was alive and vibrant and very pixelated at the same time. We'll get to that soon enough.
Yep, that leads to later.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, the outfit and the overall look, though, is pretty dope. Like, your background alone with him standing there like that, that's fucking sick. That looks so killer. It's like, how can you not stand out against all the other comic book movies of this time with a look like that? And what else was out around this time? Shaq Steele. I mean, like, Jesus Christ. We were already dealing with too many shitty movies around this time. Yes, we had Blade. Yes, we had Blade. I mean, what else was there? I mean, we didn't have much else good going on around this time. So
No, there was
I think that's
Batman
why
and
everybody
Robin.
was super excited, was this looked dope.
Yes, and unlike Batman and Robin, this was gonna kick ass. This had guns. This had monsters. This had fucking John Leguizamo in it, and demons, and all sorts of shit. A Martin Sheen.
A goddamn Martin Sheen. Let's get that right, Kevin. Dude was chewing up scenery like it was tobacco.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been.
It was
cool
like he was trying to eat the movie half the time.
I remember reading in Wizard how excited he was to be in this movie because he wanted to be in a superhero film. Like his grandkids wanted him to be in a superhero film. I'm like, what grandkids? Like, you don't have grandkids.
Hey, it could have been this, or it could have been like the Marvels. Just saying.
Uncle
I think
Joe
he
would have
dodged a
been.
bullet.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, he was a good Jason Wynn, I guess. He was good for what he was told to do in this movie, because you can't really go wrong with any of the Sheen boys. They're all great actors
When
Even
they
Uncle
choose
Joe.
to be.
When they choose to be. And to your point, he was really chewing it up in this flick.
Yeah. I'd call that another good thing in this movie, is like Martin Sheen. Most of the acting is actually not bad. It's actually pretty decent. I just don't think the script holds up to what they were doing with the movie. But like that'd be one of my little hit points, is great cast. You got some great people doing the roles. So you got Michael Jai White, you got Martin Sheen, you got, I wouldn't clump Teresa Randall in that. I didn't think she was really all that good in here, but we had DB Sweeney. DB Sweeney could have done more if he had more for his role. So for the most part, most of the acting was actually ranged from good to pretty good.
Yes, because all the actors were fantastic. And everybody that was given something to do did something great with it. And to your point, DB's character, Terry, was a lot cooler in the comics than he was here, and he was watered down greatly.
I was gonna say, he felt pretty milquetoast to me.
Anyway,
putting a little cream in the coffee, if you catch my drift.
It's true. It's true. And I'm not gonna
we're not gonna do that, Kevin.
Nope.
Yeah, my last little bit on the casting is we had a great voice actor doing the voice of who was it, the devil? Or something like that.
Malboja.
Ugh. And we'll get to my feelings about that thing in about a minute, but you will die. I am the devil.
It was very painful to listen to because it was very painfully obvious as to who it was.
I know. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, it's Frank. Oh shit.
Yeah, like you got Lord Megatron, Agent Claw, whatever you want to call him, like, and that's exactly what he was doing, was the voice of Claw, but very bland,
uninterested.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it was like the great voice acting that we know he could do. He was okay.
Yeah,
it sounded like he was in a phone booth.
And they were not requiring much of him.
And not giving him any alcohol at all.
Any alcohol. Well, Fred Tatasciore, he's got to fuck up his throat before he gets into the booth. Did you know that?
No, I actually don't know that, yeah.
Yeah, Fred Tatasciore, the voice of the Hulk. Generally does the Hulk. Yells and screams and thrashes in the booth. Has got to fuck his voice up so much and then take care of it so it's not completely gone for months after that.
Okay.
like he goes through a savage like hell of a work through going through his voiceover for Hulk.
Okay. That makes a bit of sense for doing something like that then. But
Yeah.
anything
But
else you liked?
yeah, I gotta say it, John Leguizamo,
Yes.
the one character as Clown. Loved him as Clown. That is the good for me. The top good in the movies or in this movie is his quotes. Do
Top
they
of
all
my list, John Leguizamo.
age well? No, but I think that's what I really loved about them so much. Like
I know he was saying jokes that actually apply to today, and I just started like laughing at stitches. Now, my one comment about all of this with him is the first time I saw this movie so many years ago, I'm like, John Leguizamo sucked in this movie. I hated him in Spawn. I thought it was the dumbest shit I had ever seen in my life. I'm watching it now for the first time in like, I want to say 20 years. And I'm thinking, this is the best shit in this movie, bar none. He steals the movie. He actually made this work. And I'm like, did I just not like him back then? Was it the sour taste of other movies he was in before this? I have no idea. I can't even fathom why I didn't think this was actually a good role for him, but he like fucking grand slam this movie. Like he was on point, he was awesome, he was funny as shit, and he wore the prosthetics very well. So extra special shout out to the K&B guys that did the practical effects in this movie.
I could have just heard you at 19 just being like, shut up, Luigi.
Well, that has to be part of what was going on in my head like all those years ago, is thinking like, this is so stupid. He's not funny at all. But it's like, it's been so long I've forgotten enough about the movie to actually watch this with fresh eyes, and just hearing his delivery, hearing and seeing how he was acting with everything on top of him, the gigantic suit, everything going on. It's just completely amazing. He actually is really, really good in this role. I highly recommend, if you don't get much else out of this movie, at least you get John Leguizamo like fucking crushing it.
Yeah, like if he ad-libbed any of this,
I would be not surprised.
yeah, because it was just amazing. And he was doing it so naturally, so off the cuff.
Yeah.
And at one point he eats maggots.
On
Like,
pizza, but no anchovies though.
no anchovies. Would not do that. They were gross. But he did it on purpose. He knew that they were alive and just like, or they were mealworms, I think. I don't know if they were actually alive or not, but it takes a big bite. He was committed to that role. Like, just, I have nothing bad to say about him because of this role.
Yeah, I totally take back everything I ever said. Like, like, oh God, 97, 27 years ago.
Summer of Sam was shit too.
But no, he was fantastic.
He was, and I love him, but he also goes into the bad.
Yes.
And I use Spawn again as the bad because notice the big elephant here. There's no cape on Spawn.
For half the movie.
Oh, at least.
From when he actually becomes Spawn from that point forward.
Yeah, like the moments with the cape are seconds. They are literally seconds, and they took up the entire budget of the film.
Yeah.
It was.
They went a little wild with that cape.
And there wasn't much to it. Like, it could have done less and it could have done more.
Right.
Like, it doesn't turn into camouflage in the comics. I don't ever recall it doing that. Maybe after I quit reading, it didn't turn into Guyver-like shelling on top of a motorcycle.
I just kept wanting to go Power Rangers.
Yeah, Yeah, like the motorcycle sequence where Violator's chasing him
Yep.
Terminator 2 style with
Yeah,
a
oh, yeah.
semi truck. Very much Terminator 2 style. Like that scene was forced as hell, didn't need to be in there, made
Right.
the movie much longer than it needed to have been. Or dare I say it, put something else fun in there, because there were cameos up the wazoo that could have led to more fun in this movie that just did absolutely nothing.
Right. That's where I start having problems with some of the scripting of this. And that's where I'm going to add the bad of the script for this movie is not good.
No.
It hits the sweet spot. It hits the points. It's very formula, very cookie cutter. 28 minutes in, you finally get Spawn coming and turning into Spawn. Another 28 minutes later, hey, we're already in the third act. Let's wrap this shit up and speed to the end. But that also leads to a lot of like gaps in logic between scenes, moments and interplays between characters that just never happen, but they kind of allude to it or infer or anything like that later on in the movie. So things don't make sense. And then there's just random scenes like that being thrown in there. Because Violator basically tells him, like, oh, I'm going to go after your wife. But yet, oh, I need to have a quick training scene with this old dude. And I got to feel the force with Mr. Yoda here. And then I'm going to go try and beat you to my ex-wife's house. Shouldn't he have already gotten to the house in that whole time frame that he was doing his Yoda training? Just saying. I mean, I could drive the Violator's truck right through that plot hole.
Yes. The training sequence in general.
Completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Cogliostro's character.
Yeah.
Wasn't all that interesting in the comic books. I think he was the medieval Spawn, which
That's
in the
what
comic books was cool.
Yeah, that's what I understood when I was doing some research. Like, it seemed like there was something from like the medieval ones that they were pulling in, and there was like some like lawsuit with like whoever helped write that. Was that Neil Gaiman?
I don't know about that, but there was an issue with Rob Liefeld.
Okay.
With the character that Melinda Clarke actually replaced.
Melinda Clarke. Although they offed her pretty quick in this movie.
Yeah. And somewhat unceremoniously compared to what should have happened to her. Like, Spawn comes back for Chapel, the guy that kills him. And Chapel was a member of Youngblood, which Rob Liefeld was the creator of.
Okay.
And so couldn't have Chapel in the movie without paying Rob, and no one wants to pay Rob because Rob's Rob.
So. Understood. I don't want to pay Rob either.
Deadpool doesn't want to pay Rob.
Ain't nobody paying Rob.
Sorry, Rob.
Yep. Sorry, our buddy Rob at Crooked Table as well. Special shout out to our buddy there.
I 0-pointed again. I'm sorry.
0-point reviews. You're back this week. I'm not going solo, so we can have a little more interplay here. But yeah, the bad, like what I have here is Teresa Randall, bad writing, and the third act is completely rushed. Like they speed through so much in like the last 25 minutes of this movie that even the final battles are all utterly disappointing.
Yes. One of the things I didn't care for that should have been amazing is the Violator, for the most part, is practical effects, not CGI. There is a tremendous profane amount of CGI in this movie, but not the Violator. For the most part, when he's fighting the Violator, it's all practical effects and he looks dope as shit. But
especially in like the house, right? Because that's what it seemed like when I was watching that. I'm like, this actually looks not half bad right now.
Yeah. Because the Violator, his mouth, like the upper lip looks as it does in the movie.
Yeah.
But they give him this like normal looking chin and jaw. and then he gets his mouth pulled open later on.
Okay.
But this look here where the chin is pulled open and all the way down, that's how he looks in the comic books, and it's fucking savage and beautiful looking.
It's like they put a gremlin on like acid and made him big.
Yeah, it's like put angel dust in that motherfucker and see what happens.
Ooh, zing time.
But they didn't really have him looking that way throughout 90% of the film, or 90% of the time that you see the Violator, not the clown, but the Violator.
Right.
He doesn't look that way. They gave him a very like weird and off-putting looking mouth, and so you're like, I want to be more excited, but there is that, and maybe that's nitpicking, but it just didn't look right for like the majority of it. But when it did look cool, it looked amazingly cool.
Yeah, definitely high marks on that.
And that's why I'm not putting Violator CGI down into the ugly.
Let's get ugly, Kevin.
The ugly.
All the CGI in this movie.
Yep. I learned something watching this flick, and it's because of this movie and because of Deep Rising. I hate fire CGI. Absolutely hate it.
It's actually really bad in this movie. It's honestly some of the worst CGI I think I have ever seen in a movie.
Yes, you could actually see the layers.
Yeah.
Like the fire is
and
over
I don't have the Blu-ray
shadow.
to watch this on. I watch this on a streaming service, Tubi, which is free of charge. Y'all can go watch it on Tubi. It's right there. Yeah, this is bad. I don't need better definition to see how much worse this really is.
He's got fucking aloe vera plants as ears.
I was thinking that too.
Get sunburn crack ear for you.
God, that just looks so bad.
And then the clown looked like totally 2D compared to everything else.
Yeah, pretty much.
So with the abundance of the CGI fire, I mean, yes, I know it's hell. What else were they supposed to do? And it was the 90s. It was new. They wanted it to be state of the art. It didn't work, and it doesn't hold up.
I don't know. Find like a nice desert area. Use completely red lights when the light is just right. You only maybe get like an hour or two to shoot. Boom, go. Make it look like a complete hellscape. You can still make it work. You might not get all the fire you want, but at least you'd have at least the scenery and the set looking pretty dope. But when you're trying to do a gigantic creature like that, and you don't want to go back to like the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s when people had to be clever about how they were shooting things, then I guess that's what you get with this movie.
Yes. And those movies were scary. Those movies were impressive. This flick wasn't. I'll give this movie the most I will give this movie is that it can be fun. It is
absolutely.
It is not a fun film, but it can be fun.
Yeah, I legitimately had a fun time watching this movie. I was completely surprised. Like, you know what? This actually ain't half bad. This is kind of fun. Is it well written? No. Is it decently acted? Sure. Is the special effects the worst thing in the movie? Yeah. But I had fun watching it. So at least on the entertainment value meter, I would definitely give it a mark on that one. So, but man, the CGI it's exceedingly bad. And if you can't hack bad CGI, even like by today's standards, I don't know what to tell you about this movie. It's worth a shot, but I don't know if you're gonna like turn it off after like 5 minutes.
Yes, and if you're an action fan and you don't like that, this movie is seriously not for you. Because like I went into this expecting to see Michael J. White kick some serious fucking ass because dude is a black belt.
I thought he'd fuck some
motherfucker.
Bitches up, yeah.
But they had him in a suit to where he couldn't move. And I was like, oh man, even a kick is hard on the poor guy.
Yeah, he's more like you would expect him when he's in the Mortal Kombat TV show that he did. Not the Conquest one that was on like TNT years ago, but like the YouTube short episode series that they did. I want to say that was called Mortal Kombat Legends or Legacy, I want to say. And he was really good as Jax. And he fit that very well. There's actually a very famous like trailer where they were trying to do proof of concept for it. They even had who was it? Jerry Ryan doing Sonya Blade. And
Oh, wow.
and it looked really dope. If we can find it, we'll link it down below in our description. So absolutely, we'll throw that in there. But he looked way more like Spawn in that than he did in this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, even the crispy look. Like
Yeah,
didn't
crispy.
I didn't like it. Like
Oh my god. That's like
this
Red
was
Hulk level.
kinda, yeah. Like this was the best that it looked, and it looked like shit. Like literally, he looked like
Yeah.
a living turd looking up from me, like, why did you eat me? Like I don't know.
I'm thinking like, I'm melting.
Melting in the heat.
Quick, somebody throw me an ice cube.
And they wanted this to be a trilogy. And
it certainly felt like it.
Yeah. There could have been more to it. There should have been more to it. But with the way that the comic books went, which after Todd decided that he was too famous to do the book himself, it really didn't go anywhere. Like I think it's still being published, but like I'm not quite sure why.
I think he's way more focused on like the figure line and actually just running like the business and the empire than he actually is like doing the books. Because I've heard comments on other streams I follow, like, you know, like Nerdrotic, heel versus babyface with Az. And they, whenever they talk about Todd, they always kind of say to the effect of something where if he was interested in doing art these days, he'd still be all right at it, but he hasn't had any interest for like the longest time. So it's almost like, did he burn out? Kind of makes you wonder as an outsider looking in exactly what happened. But I just hear the other comic book people I know just basically saying there's like no interest there. And when he was doing it, he was fine, but you know, the interest just ain't there. And that's unfortunate, but they are trying to do a remake with this. So and Todd does have an original script, but they've been tweaking it for years. I don't know where they're at with that now, but there was news as of like even what was that last year possibly before we started doing our live streams and everything.
Yeah.
Like there was some sort of news about like, yeah, they're hunkering down to do this again because maybe Todd's actually going to bankroll part of the budget himself. You're almost going to have to at this point. Hollywood is not going to invest in another Spawn like this. What might work is more animated Spawn, which we're going to be covering on our podcast very soon. And that's the HBO animated series that ran about 18 episodes. So we're going to slam all those into an episode for a fun review. And by my memory and recollection, that was super good and a lot of fun.
Yes, I had the VHSs and the DVD.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Cool.
Could not tell you if I have ever had the Blu-ray or not. Could not find the DVD today, and I was like,
it's on Blu-ray.
Oh, so good. I'm not missing out then.
Let me take a quick look here. I know, riveting on a movie review.
It was a really good show that I recall. I remember going to my friend's house and watching it and just being like, oh, that was so cool. And it was cooler and darker than the comics were. I didn't get laid that night either.
I could see how that could not happen. Yeah, as far as Spawn goes, there is that TV show is not on Blu-ray. It'd be nice if it did. If they come out with another movie and Warner Brothers gets the rights to distribute the movie, they might then go back and do the animated series, I would think. Well, they actually indicate the Spawn was like a director's cut that was released. I didn't realize that.
It did?
Yeah. I don't know anything about like that. That's kind of interesting.
Well, if that's what we have and that's what we watched and that's what's disappointing, goodness, what did we see in the theaters?
Well, that director never did anything again. I'd call that another ugly side to this movie is, man, some of the creators on this, they went on to do next to nothing, or they just went to like direct to video hell is what I call it.
Yeah, but at the
Not the
same
K&B guys. Kurtzman went off and ended up working Walking Dead.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, the suit in this, the special effects, they are good. All of them are good. Everything except for the fire CG. Even this stupid shovel here that has Leguizamo's face in it.
I love that.
Start digging. It was so animated and looked so realistic. It's like, but they couldn't get the fire right.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And yes, everybody, we're in the final judgment and overall assessment of the movie phase at this point. So we'll have an extra banner for that next time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to rate this one, how we were gonna like.
Yeah, I kept thinking about that too, and I was like, I like the movie. I don't love it. It's good, but it's not good at the same time. It's just one of those, hey, have a drink or have something that'll make you feel good, sugar, MJ, whatever you're into. If it makes you feel good when you're watching movies and you're watching like shitty movies, this is that kind of movie. Hang out with a bunch of friends, just kick back, relax, you could turn your brain off. There's honest to God, nothing to think about with this movie at all.
No. And it's actually highly riffable. So if that's your thing too, by all means,
Bingo.
Insert jokes and extra content here. Or extra dialogue here.
Absolutely. Like, do your own running commentary. Hell, this would have been fun as a watch along where you and me are like doing something like that.
Hey, as long as we don't get in trouble, we should.
Oh, there's ways to do it. I watch a channel here or there, especially recently, as I'm thinking about, like, because Amy even said, hey, you guys should do a little watch along for some of your shows or for a movie. And then I'm kind of looking around because I know some people do that on YouTube, and there's ways to do it, but we got to figure out like some overlays or doing something with the video so you can't really make anything out and absolutely no audio. So you basically just hit like a countdown timer in 3, 2, 1, hit play, everybody, and then you just go from there.
And then have somebody saying, time.
Yeah. So
I've
that's
been
how people
can
do those.
I like that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
I like that. Excellent.
Yes. The mad scientists are going on. But sounds like Kevin's getting a message from his overlord.
She heard us.
All right, Kevin, you got any final thoughts before we head on out for the night?
Yeah, I'm with you. This is not a good movie. I hate this movie, but I love watching this movie. This is good for me like once every 3 to 5 years because it's got big monsters in it that I love. It's got actors in it that I love, and it's got a terrible memory of a really nice, cute girl that I used to. Anyway.
That you used. Great. We're going to end on that. So thank you everybody for tuning in for 0 Point Reviews and Spawn from 1997. We had a fun time talking about this. We hope you did too. If you did, please hit that like button. Comment down below. You got some good, bad, ugly moments with this movie or memories? We want to hear about it. We may just highlight them and interact with you on the YouTubes. And also hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell notification. We'll see you all on the next video. Goodbye. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at SunsAndShadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.